Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. No, we are not talking about WrestleMania 23 in 2007. We're talking about the 2023 SummerSlam. It's going to be live this Saturday. Prediction time. I am pumped for this show. Let's get into it. Alright, we got 8 matches on this card, and overall, the build has been pretty and that's been kind of the case for the last few premium live events for WWE, one reason or another, but at the end of the day, regardless of build, one thing I can give credit to is that literally every single premium live event over the last year has been good to great to absolutely excellent, and SummerSlam's got a solid card here, man. All the matches look to be really good, at least for the most part, so I think this show's going to deliver. I'm really excited for this Saturday. And definitely a lot to discuss on this show that is really, I think, going to kick off where we are heading on Raw and SmackDown into the fall, and that may seem like an obvious guess, but when you really look at some of these matches, a simple choice of winner could really change the trajectory when it comes to the championships, future #1 contenders, all that stuff. But nonetheless, let's get into the predictions. So let's kick things off with the SummerSlam Battle Royal, of course presented by Slim Jim. You gotta throw that in there, but obviously we don't have a full slate of participants announced for this matchup. I believe LA Knight, Sheamus, Ricochet, I think Nakamura is going to be in there. Not Ricochet, excuse me, Tommaso Ciampa, Nakamura, just probably a bunch of people on Raw and SmackDown that obviously aren't having featured matches on this show. But as for who's going to win, you could really have some fun with it. I'd like to think that whoever wins this matchup is going to be not catapulted into something amazing on WWE television, but is at least going to be in some kind of prominent role in the near future. So the couple ideas I have for winners, of course, at the top of that list, we got to mention LA Knight. And obviously, I don't know what's next for LA Knight. We thought he was going to be getting the United States Championship opportunity. Didn't happen. We thought last month he was going to be taking down Money in the Bank. Didn't happen. I don't know what's next for LA Knight. It's been rumored for weeks that they got plans for him after SummerSlam, so I hope that's the case, and LA Knight winning this Battle Royal could certainly at least be the catalyst to something next on SmackDown. You know, another thing that's been rumored for a while is Braun Breaker's NXT call-up. This is a call-up that I think a lot of people thought we were going to get after WrestleMania 39. Unfortunately, did not happen, but Braun Breaker coming up after SummerSlam I think is definitely a realistic option. And what better way to kick off his main roster career than showing up at SummerSlam and winning this Battle Royal? Even if there's nothing on the line like a #1 contendership or even a freaking trophy, it's just a Battle Royal, I guess, for the sake of a Battle Royal, but still showing up and winning night one could definitely do Braun Breaker some favors. And if I wanted to throw anybody else in here just for the sake of giving you guys another pick, Chad Gable wrestled Gunther on Monday Night Raw, and obviously he did not come out on top, but I do think Chad Gable may be a dark horse down the line in dethroning Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. So if Chad Gable is going to be in more of a singles role in the near coming future on Monday Night Raw, well, it would be pretty cool to see him get this Battle Royal win here. I'm just throwing that out. At the end of the day, though, to give you guys one solid pick prediction for this Battle Royal, I'm just going to go with the everybody's favorite pick. Everybody wants to see him get the victory, even if it's just a meaningless Battle Royal. LA Knight. Next up, we will talk about Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler, which is going to be contested under MMA rules. I'm not sure if there's going to be rounds in this thing, but I assume that just means knockout, submission, the ways to get a victory in this matchup. I don't know, remains to be seen. I'm sure the rules aren't anything too extravagant. And I gotta give some credit here, man. I said this during Monday Night Raw on Twitter, but Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, just in the matter of, what has it been, 4 or 5 weeks since Money in the Bank, have built up the most intriguing women's program in WWE all year long, in my personal opinion. And this is coming from someone who's really not a huge Ronda Rousey fan. I am a fan of Shayna Baszler. I think she's one of the most underutilized women over the last, well, really just since her main roster call-up several years ago. But they have taken this rivalry and they have knocked it out of the park. Since night one and Shayna turning on Ronda at Money in the Bank, which was a huge shock, nobody saw it coming. All the promos, I think, have been very good, very realistic. They've set up this match fine, but this past Monday Night on Raw, the 2-part vignettes, backstage promos, the whatever you want to call pre-tapes that they did to build up Ronda and Shayna this Saturday at SummerSlam, absolutely excellent. This is how you get over storylines. This is how you get over individuals. We need more stuff like this, not only, especially in the women's division, but just overall on WWE television, man. I think Ronda and Shayna have knocked this story out of the park over the last 5 weeks, and I gotta be honest, I'm really looking forward to the match at SummerSlam. Is it gonna be something extravagant? I don't know, but at the end of the day, I think it can be a solid match. Build-wise, I'll go as far as say it's one of the best built matches on this show. And when it comes to the winner of Shayna versus Ronda, I'm going to go ahead and pick Shayna Baszler to win this matchup here. And obviously a lot of the rumors regarding this story were that Ronda Rousey may be on her way out of WWE and she wants to put Shayna over on her way out. Now, we don't know if this is going to be just a one-off matchup at SummerSlam or if there's going to be more matches in this story and they're going to blow it off a few months from now. Remains to be seen. If that's the case, if Ronda's not leaving just yet and they're going to, progress this story over the next few months, well, then I can easily see Ronda picking up the victory at SummerSlam. But if this is going to be a one-off matchup, then I definitely think Shayna Baszler defeating Ronda Rousey is the way to go. And that'll be my final prediction. I'm going the Queen of Spades herself, Shayna Baszler, to defeat Ronda Rousey. And hopefully this matchup is good, man. The build's been great. It has potential to be really good. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm picking Baszler over Rousey. Next up, we got Ricochet versus Logan Paul. I've talked a lot about this matchup in various videos here on the channel, and I'm really looking forward to it, man. Ever since they did that mid-air collision at the Royal Rumble, I was like, we got to get Ricochet versus Logan Paul one-on-one. And I'm really happy to see Ricochet in this spot. Listen, is he the best promo guy in the world? Obviously not. We've seen that on Monday Night Raw. Not that he's bad, but he's just not necessarily believable in every word that he says. But Ricochet, I think, is amazing, and I think can be, utilized more than he has been. Even though he's a guy who's on weekly television, he's capable of a lot more, in my personal opinion. And I say that because, again, I'm just happy to see him in this prominent, spotlighted spot on SummerSlam against Logan Paul. A lot of eyes going to be on Ricochet, and I hope these guys knock it out of the park this Saturday. And honestly, it might end up being the match of the night. I think it's going to be fantastic. They've literally been building it as such, but I do expect there to be some kind of viral, crazy moment in this matchup that none of us can predict. There's definitely going to be some randomly just awesome athletic spots in here that we can't even, break down. We're just going to be watching this thing like, this is freaking awesome. At least that's what I'm hoping for. And even though I'm happy Ricochet's in this spot, and even though I hope this is just the start of seeing Ricochet in more prominent roles on television, more premium live events, all that stuff, I don't expect him to pick up the win here. I do think Logan Paul will be getting the victory at SummerSlam, and especially because Logan Paul has not won, I think, a match this year. I mean, he's only been in 4, obviously, but Royal Rumble lost, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania lost. I was including Roman Reigns. That Roman Reigns match was last year. Nonetheless, Roman Reigns lost, and then Money in the Bank lost as well. So Logan Paul, I don't think he's won a match since last year's SummerSlam against The Miz. So I do expect Logan Paul to win here. Where he goes, you honestly have a ton of options, in my opinion, with Logan Paul. I'd love to see him in LA Knight. I'd love to see him in Cody Rhodes. I'd love to see him and Brock Lesnar in a Saudi show. I think that just fits a Saudi Arabia premium live event. Regardless of what they do with Logan Paul after SummerSlam, I do think he will defeat Ricochet this Saturday, but I do think it'll be one hell of a match. Next up, we got the Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther defending against Drew McIntyre. You want to talk about matches that are going to be one hell of a freaking show to watch. They are going to beat the hell out of each other. If we saw what happened at WrestleMania 39 with Sheamus involved, obviously you're detracting Sheamus this time. You got McIntyre versus Gunther one-on-one. You know they're going to go crazy, man. It's going to be on the level of Gunther and Sheamus last year, Clash of the Castle. I honestly believe that. If not, I'll be very surprised. But McIntyre and Gunther, I think, are going to beat the hell out of each other. They're going to tear it up in Ford Field. And I've talked about a ton here on the channel that Drew McIntyre, very viable guy to defeat Gunther and become Intercontinental Champion. If they were doing this matchup even just a month and change from now, a little over a month, then I think Drew McIntyre would have a chance of beating Gunther. But considering Gunther is literally just over a month away from becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, why wouldn't they have him break the record, man? No disrespect to the honky-tonk man, but how he held that record for 30-something years anyway is shocking. Gunther's been on a great reign with the Intercontinental Championship. I do think he will lose the title before the end of the year, excuse me. Especially because I do think Gunther is a top candidate to win next year's Royal Rumble and leave WrestleMania 40 as the World Heavyweight Champion. And what that has to do with the Intercontinental Championship here, well, I just don't think Gunther's going to lose that Intercontinental title just yet. I think he's going to go through SummerSlam, defeat Drew McIntyre, go through Payback, which I believe is the 2nd of September or something like that. And then later that week, he'll break the record, become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champ of all time. And then whenever you want to take the title off of him, feel free. And McIntyre could easily beat him. They could have Chad Gable beat him. I've thrown out Ilya Dragunov. There's definitely options to take down Gunther. But as for SummerSlam, I do believe after a kick-ass matchup, Gunther will defeat Drew McIntyre to retain the Intercontinental Championship. And if they want to have some Imperium shenanigans in this matchup with Giovanni Vinci and Kaiser getting involved, and maybe that kind of screws over McIntyre, so he's vying for another rematch against Gunther, and that's what leads to Drew beating Gunther, a month from change from now, then by all means, go right ahead. I will not be complaining that Drew McIntyre takes down Gunther if that is the case. But as for SummerSlam, I do believe Gunther will retain the Intercontinental Championship. We got the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship championship over on SmackDown. Asuka defends against Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair. You know, interesting situation here, man. You got these three women. You also have Io Sky, who is Mrs. Money in the Bank. And you really got to look at who's going to be the champion over the next couple of months, and then also look at who's going to be the champion in WrestleMania season. I do think, we've talked about this again in recent videos. We've talked a ton about SummerSlam recently here on the channel. I do think they are going to save Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair one-on-one for WrestleMania 40. Obviously, they've been intertwined over the last month and change on SmackDown. Obviously, they're going to be going at it in the triple threat on Saturday. But as for the one-on-one matchup, I do think WWE thinks that's bigger than it actually is. But I still think, not knock you, I still think it will be a good matchup. But at the end of the day, I think they will save that for WrestleMania 40. And the reason I bring that up is because one of these women could easily win the championship here, but are they going to defend it against the other in the near future? What I could easily see happening is a couple of things. Either Asuka just flat out retains the championship, Asuka retains, and then Io Sky cashes in, or Bianca becomes the new champion, Charlotte becomes the new champion, and then Io Sky cashes in. I really don't see Bianca or Charlotte winning the title and then also leaving SummerSlam. And I said a few weeks ago that I could easily see one of these, more specifically Charlotte, leaving as champion and having, you know, a month or so reign until Io Sky cashes in. Io Sky can successfully cash in, have a reign for a few months, and then if they want her to drop the title in the lead up to WrestleMania, at least she'll have a few month reign under her belt. I gotta be honest, man, like, it's a hard one to call. There's a lot of options in here, and I know that, like, a lot of people may not be too big fans of Charlotte, Bianca, and I'm not knocking you on there, but at the end of the day, I still think this will be a good matchup in the women's division on SmackDown, at least more intriguing than the one on Monday Night Raw right now. I gotta be honest, man, I don't know. Like, I don't pre-write these predictions. I just go on the fly and I go with what I'm feeling with. My prediction for this matchup, though, as to who's going to leave SummerSlam as the WWE Women's Champion, you know, I know I just said a minute ago that I really don't see Bianca or Charlotte leaving as champion, but I'm really thinking about it here, thinking in WWE's mindset. I could easily see Charlotte winning the championship, getting that 15th reign with the title, holding it for a month and change, you know, up until Payback, Fastlane, whatever. Io Sky successfully cashes in. We get Io going through October, November, December, maybe even January as champion, and then a Bianca or Charlotte could win back the title, and then they go into WrestleMania to have that one-on-one matchup, if it's going to be for the Women's Championship, which I believe it will be. And I could just say Bianca to have that short reign with the championship, but I don't know, I just don't feel like Bianca's going to win back the title. Like, that's the one thing that's really sticking with me, that Bianca, if she wins the title, she's either immediately going to lose to Io Sky, or she's just not going to win at all. I don't know, I know my thoughts are all over the place in this matchup, but like I said, I don't pick these matches, I just go on the fly. As much as I may not like to say it, I really think Charlotte is going to leave the WWE Women's Champion. That's what I'm feeling right now. Not feeling like that's what I want, that's what I'm feeling they're going to do. And then Io Sky, she might cash in at SummerSlam, but I have a feeling there's a better chance that the men's Money in the Bank briefcase is going to be cashed in. They're not going to be cashed in on the same night. So I honestly am going to say Charlotte Flair to leave the Women's Champion. And hopefully whenever Io Sky cashes in, it's successful. But as for Saturday, I think Charlotte Flair's gonna win. I just have that feeling. Hey, if I'm wrong, cool, and like Asuka just straight up retains, you won't hear a complaint out of me, but whatever. For some reason, Charlotte Flair's name is just sticking out to me as winner, gonna leave SummerSlam as champion, so we're going with that. We're going with that. That's my final pick. We got the rubber match between the Beast, Brock Lesnar, and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. A little disappointed that we're not getting any stipulation on this matchup, even if it was just a simple street fight, Detroit street fight for Cody versus Brock, especially if how physical the build has been. And I will say the build, in my opinion, has been lacking in the lead up to SummerSlam. You know, I gave this feud credit on top. Well, I'll go back to what I was about to say. I gave this feud credit from the beginning all the way up until Night of Champions, where I was like, all right, they haven't given us an explanation as to why Brock hates Cody's guts, but the beatdowns, the brawls have been entertaining, the promos by Cody have been entertaining, but again, we still have not gotten an explanation as to why Brock has been going after Cody literally since the Raw after WrestleMania. But then leading up to SummerSlam, we all knew we were going to be getting a third matchup. I was like, all right, well, even if they still don't give us an explanation, hopefully they'll at least up the ante with the match type, and that'll be the extra heat on this matchup, though a lot of us might feel it needs. But unfortunately, we got no explanation, we have no stipulation on this matchup, and Cody's just been getting his ass beat for the last couple of weeks. F5, F5. They really haven't gotten too creative with the build. Brock's just been laying out Cody, whether it's at ringside, on the stage, like whatever it may be, and that's really all they did, and it's kind of disappointing. At the end of the day, though, I'm sure it's going to be an entertaining matchup. Their Backlash match was good. The Night of Champions match was as well. Not like extraordinary, but they were definitely fine. Like, they were fine matches, good stuff. So as for Saturday, I think pick-wise, I'm definitely going Cody Rhodes. I don't see him losing this matchup at all. Cody's red hot right now, and as we talked about very recently, what was it, 2 days ago here on the channel, I do believe that Cody will be taking down Roman Reigns all the way at WrestleMania 40 next year. So Cody's going to cap off this feud with Brock Lesnar with a giant W in Ford Field. So regardless of the stipulation that is non-existent, regardless of the explanation that is non-existent, the rubber matchup Saturday night, I do believe Cody Rhodes defeats Brock Lesnar in Ford Field. We have the World Heavyweight Championship matchup, Seth Rollins defending the gold against Finn Balor. Now, very interesting situation here, man. I hope this match is a lot better than their Money in the Bank matchup. I thought that match was no better than just a random Monday Night Raw main event. Not saying it was bad, but it just wasn't what I expected it to be. So hopefully Rollins and Balor tear it up this Saturday. But the result, man, the result is a tricky one. You know, I could see Rollins leaving as champ. I could see Finn Balor leaving as champ. I could see Damian Priest leaving as champ. I think all three of those options, if you made a case for any three of those guys in the comments, I would not argue, because I think it's very up in the air as to who's going to leave on Saturday as the World Heavyweight Champion. But you guys are tuning in to get my predictions, so what the hell am I going to predict for this triple threat matchup? Here's my first prediction, I'll say. Well, we'll just start narrowing people out, cutting people out. I don't think Seth Rollins is going to leave World Heavyweight Champion. The biggest reason why I don't see Seth leaving Ford Field as champion is because outside of the Judgment Day, as a whole, Balor, Priest, and even Dominic, Rollins has no challengers on Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton still on the shelf. Matt Riddle, not credible at all. Gunther, Intercontinental Champion. Drew McIntyre feuding for the Intercontinental Championship. Kevin Owens on the shelf. Sami Zayn, Tag Team Champion. Who's left? After everybody I just said, who's left on Monday Night Raw? I know Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, but Cody's not going after the World Championship, and none of us want to see Brock challenge Seth Rollins for the World title. So take those guys out as well. You have nobody to challenge Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw for the World Heavyweight Championship. So with that being said, I will ixnay Seth Rollins from leaving Saturday night as the World Heavyweight Champion. Listen, some of those matches I said would be good, but like some of them just aren't gonna happen right now. So let's look at Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I can very much see Finn Balor getting a long-awaited World Heavyweight Championship run. I would love to see it. I'm sure a lot of you would like to see it. On the other hand, you have Damian Priest, Mr. Money in the Bank, and I don't think he's going to hold that briefcase very long, and when he does cash in, I do think he will be successful. And, you know, they have been teasing the tension, teasing the split between Damian Priest and Finn Balor, and then it was fine, and now it kind of looks a little iffy again after Monday Night Raw. Damian Priest was this close from cashing in, but there was a little hesitation from Finn Balor for obvious reasons. You know, I could easily see them having Damian Priest pull a Seth Rollins and cashing in during the matchup, making it a triple threat, and Damian Priest pins Rollins, or hell, even pins Finn Balor to become World Heavyweight Champion. Oh, this is a hard one to call. I guess that's a good part, though, man. When it's unpredictable, it's even more fun, so I guess that is a good part. You know, when Damian Priest and Finn Balor split, one of them's eventually going to go babyface, right? And I do think, even though Damian Priest could absolutely fill that role, I think people would be more inclined to cheer Finn Balor. So with that stated, we're going to get transitioned to a little bit of fantasy booking here. I think what I would do on Saturday is have Damian Priest cash in, become the World Heavyweight Champion during the matchup, not necessarily after the match where Rollins beats Balor or Balor beats Rollins, excuse me. I think I would just have Damian Priest interrupted Seth Rollins style, like I mentioned, and win the World Heavyweight Championship. And even though we would have a technical triple threat, it would obviously be over in a matter of minutes. Then you can go on to Payback, have an actual triple threat between Balor, Priest, and Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. And honestly, whether it's there or whether they do a Priest versus Balor one-on-one at Fastlane, then I would have Finn Balor win the World Heavyweight Championship. And it'd be a case where maybe he doesn't have the title too long, because I think what I'm trying to get at here is Damian Priest eventually turning on Finn Balor, not just in the split of the Judgment Day, but like doing an absolute vicious beatdown that takes Finn Balor out of commission for a couple of months. Balor comes back around WrestleMania time as a babyface. We lead into Balor versus Priest into WrestleMania season. I obviously don't have this all fantasy booked in my head right now, but I think that's where I would go. And I guess really you can have some fun with it, whether Balor wins or Damian Priest wins. But you know what? Same thing with the Charlotte Flair situation earlier. Even though I could see any of the three guys leaving on Saturday as World Heavyweight Champion, I'm going to go Damian Priest. I'm going to go Damian Priest, honestly. Like, I don't think there'll be a solid winner to the World Heavyweight Championship match. My prediction for Saturday between Balor and Rollins is that Damian Priest leaves World Heavyweight Champion. That's going to be my pick. That's my final pick. I'm not changing it. We're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, but I'm going Damian Priest. That was a hard one to call, but in a matchup that's not going to be hard to call, we have the main event of SummerSlam, tribal combat between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Really don't have to get too crazy here. This is going to be a great matchup. I'm sure multiple times during the match they're going to make us think, oh, Jey Uso's going to win the title. We might get Jimmy Uso coming back. I speculated the other day maybe Jimmy's going to come back and turn on Jey. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's just an idea. I'll go. If you want to get more in depth with that, go watch the video. I'll link it in the cards. But at the end of the day, as for the result of this tribal combat matchup, plain and simple, Roman Reigns is going to wipe the floor with Jey Uso. Roman Reigns will be leaving Ford Field as the undisputed Universal Champion. No doubt about it. He is not losing that title any earlier than WrestleMania 40 in my eyes. And when he does lose it, it's either going to be to Cody Rhodes, maybe to Solo Sikoa, but most likely Cody Rhodes. So as for SummerSlam, Roman Reigns to retain the undisputed Universal Championship. That one's an easy call. Not like some of these other matches. That one is an easy call, though. And one more thing that I'll mention. If The Rock shows up on Saturday, you heard it on this channel first, because I've made multiple videos over the last couple of weeks talking about The Rock showing up at SummerSlam. And now I see a couple more people jumping in on the bandwagon on social media. Oh, maybe he's going to do a segment with Grayson Waller, LA Knight. Maybe we'll get involved with the tribal if The Rock shows up on Saturday, you heard it here first. I said it. I'm taking my credit. Go watch the other videos if you want the proof. Clearly some hard matches to call on Saturday night, but at the end of the day, that's one of the best parts, when wrestling's unpredictable, right? So I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. I want you guys to leave your predictions for every single match on the SummerSlam card in the comment section below. Let's have a little discourse. Let's get excited for Saturday night. And while you're at it, be sure to hit the like button and hit subscribe if you are not already. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go follow me across all social medias at NoNation Vlogs, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy SummerSlam. Peace.